video might be a little loud, a little unpleasant noise. Right now we're doing a forced regen on a Freightliner Cascadia. And if you ever need to do that, it's a relatively simple procedure, which I've already done, already started. But basically you're going to bring the truck up to whatever the operating temperature specified for your particular engine is. My truck is 150 degrees Fahrenheit. So the first thing you got to do is start it up, let it warm up, get the temperature up to 150 or above. Once you do that, let it drop back down to idle, slow idle. And then what you want to do is you want to push your clutch in, put it in gear, pull it back out of gear, let the clutch out, push the yellow knob in, release the tractor brakes, pull the yellow knob back out, set the tractor brakes, push the clutch in, let the clutch out, and then you find the regen button on your panel, hold that down for 5 seconds, and then you should get a regen indicator light on your dash. And once that starts flashing, once that comes on, you can let go of that button, and then it will do its thing on its own from there. A forced regen would typically take about 40 to 45 minutes, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit longer. It'll quit when it's done with what it needs to do, and it will drop it back down to slow idle, and it will stay at slow idle, and then the regen light that comes on and off will stop doing that to indicate that the forced regeneration is complete. Some trucks, depending on how you're running them, if you're running them at highway speeds on a regular basis, will do a regeneration on their own. Mine doesn't like to do that. The type of loads I run, or the weight, or what, I think it's done 1, maybe 2 regens on its own since I've owned it. But I typically wind up having to do a forced regen on it, which is not a big deal, as long as you know how to do it. It does sound unpleasant. Like I said, it runs the RPM up and it'll cycle it up, and it generates a lot of heat. I typically open the hood, and you'll get a little flashing yellow light on the depth that will stop flashing. You might see the regen light come on here in a minute if I've got the camera pointed the right place. It came on just for a second right there. You'll see it pop back on there again in a minute. Maybe should light back up. There it is. So as long as that light is flashing and it's still in a regen mode, as long as the RPMs are elevated and that other yellow light is flashing, it's still regenerating. It's part of the pollution crap they put on these trucks, which I don't like. I love this truck. I don't like that shit at all. That's one of the benefits of owning an older truck, 1999 or older, not to have to mess with this stuff. The bad thing about this stuff too is that if anything goes wrong with it, it'll derate your truck, it'll drop it down to 55 miles an hour. If it's still not resolved, whatever the problem is, they'll derate it down to 5 miles an hour, and I absolutely do not like any of that. And what I like even less is anything goes wrong with this system is expensive to fix. I had to replace a pump on this thing, and a tow bill for that was a significant amount of money. I had a short, an electrical short, that was tripping the indicator lights for it, and that was several more $100s. And that was still relatively cheap compared to what it could have been. I had one shop that either was incompetent, didn't realize it was just an electrical problem, or maybe they did realize that and were intending on ripping me off and wanted to charge me to replace a heater or assembly and labor that would have been well over $1,400–1,500 instead of just about a third of that or less for fixing the electrical problem is actually the source of it. So, and if you have to replace the entire system or do major repairs on this whole system, it can cost you as much as replacing an engine on a truck. So, long story short, if you're going to have a newer truck, you're going to have to put up with these things whether you like it or not. And you need to make sure that you keep your maintenance up on that system as well. And you have some basic idea how it works and the things that go wrong with it, what needs to be done. And take care of it when it needs to be taken care of. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'll be sitting here for the next, we've been going for about 10 minutes maybe, so I'll be here for another 30 or 40 minutes. And I'll talk to you again soon in the next video. And last thing before I leave, if you do need to do a forced regen, you don't know how to do it, if you have your manuals that came with your truck, in the big manual it explains this, and that card you see right there is a little sort of a quick guide card that will explain all this stuff to you. This engine's a DD15, so procedures might vary a little bit depending on what engine you have, depending on what year it is, that kind of stuff. But check your manuals that came with your truck. Take care. Have a great day. Talk to you again soon in the next video.